From childhood memories to the small details of everyday life, there are so many things that inspire me. Hi everyone, I'm Jen. I am an artist slash illustrator and I have been creating art for my whole life, but I've only just started taking it seriously 2 years ago. When I was making art for fun in my past, I didn't ever really stop to think about what exactly inspired me, and I typically created or made art when I felt the inclination to do so. However, now that making art is part of my job, I found myself being more intentional in seeking out inspiration. So today, I want to do a fun little draw with me video where I also want to chat a bit about what inspires me. I've been asked this question a handful of times, and I feel like I can't fully answer it in a short comment or message, so why not answer it here? So, what inspires me? Well, nowadays there is a lot that inspires me personally and inspires what I create. And so I think the first area where I find inspiration is with things that I simply like or enjoy. For example, apples have always been my favorite fruit. I used to have an apple every single day with my lunch for so many years. It was just my go-to snack, and it may sound silly now, but having an apple every day just gave me comfort. And I think it was because it was just a constant in my life during a rough time. So now, while I don't necessarily eat an apple as nearly as often anymore, I know that I still love them, and that I'll always love them, and that I'll always enjoy them. And because I have this connection with apples and other fruits in general, I found a lot of joy in drawing them and including them in my art. I typically draw them with happy or silly little faces and expressions, and I think it's because they used to give me so much joy and assurance to a younger version of me. Another similar instance of this kind of inspiration can also be connected to why I love drawing bears. As a very young kid, I fell in love with Winnie the Pooh. I used to have a little Winnie the Pooh backpack that I took with me everywhere, and it was my favorite thing that I ever had. And I think it was the first thing that offered me that constant comfort in my life that over the years has been replaced by other things. My love for Winnie, however, has never gone away, and I now have made a character inspired by him in my art. A brown bear has been at the center of so many of my art pieces, and I imagine that the bear that I draw is just a happy little guy that lives a simple life, and in my universe, instead of honey, he eats apples all day, every day. Those are just two specific examples of how the things in my life inspire my art, but they're not all as deep and meaningful every single time. I think most times, actually, I just draw things that I see in my daily life. I may draw a bowl of ramen because I might have recently had a delicious bowl of it. I may draw a little fish because I saw a can of sardines in the pantry. There are so many everyday occurrences that can inspire and influence ideas and continue to inspire us to create. I think over time, it just becomes easier, or rather more natural, to spot little details that you would want to create in some way in your art. Another area where I source inspiration is from other artists and their artwork. This can sometimes be a little bit of a slippery slope though, because it could lead to comparing ourselves to others, which can sometimes lead to art block, which is just not good and the opposite of feeling inspired. But when you're able to look at and simply appreciate someone else's artwork, I find a lot of inspiration from it, especially if it is in an art style that I like, or if their art has things that I want to learn how to integrate in my own art. Like texture, for example. I've tried experimenting with including more texture in my art, and I haven't really found a way to do it that I like. I mean, I really love the way my art looks right now, and I'm very happy with my current style. But eventually, I want to learn how to create more interesting pieces with texture included in it. And so when I see an art piece created by an artist that is at a higher skill set than me, I feel very inspired to practice and create more. Of course, it will take time to get there, but I know that by making more art is how I will get to my goal. Finding art that I like and that I enjoy and that inspired me isn't something that I necessarily seek out all the time. I think right now with social media, it happens more often. Like when I'm scrolling on Instagram or on Pinterest, I'm often saving posts of art that I really like or that resonates with me. From here, sometimes there is a spark of inspiration that brings a new idea to mind that I would like to make. Another place that I found inspiration from is my old art, actually. Sometimes I like to flip through my old sketchbooks or scroll down to my first post on my Instagram. And when I do this, I just take a moment to appreciate the growth that I've had with my style and my skills. I can clearly see that, to me, my art is getting better and that I have progressed. And when I look back at these pieces that I felt so proud of when I made them, I sometimes like to recreate them as another benchmark of my art progression. Most oftentimes, however, I mostly just look at my sketchbooks as these are the places where I put down all of my ideas. So when I need help coming up with new ideas to draw, flipping through past sketches and doodles can inspire something new. But even with so many places and ways to find inspiration, what do I do when I'm not feeling it and I'm just feeling unmotivated? Well, if I feel myself falling into a period of art block and I feel like I just can't create, it's not because I'm feeling uninspired. It's usually just that I'm experiencing some level of stress. Sometimes it can be that I had an idea for a piece that I was really excited for, but when I sit down to do it, it just doesn't come out as I had expected, and I just can't seem to get past that trust the process stage. Or it could be that I just poorly planned my time and I feel like I need to rush to create, and again, it doesn't meet my expectations. Or it could just be related to some personal stresses. Whatever it is and wherever it comes from, the thing that I found that works best for me is to take a step back and focus on something else for a bit. I like to spend time doing other hobbies or activities that I enjoy when I'm feeling this way. This could be things like watching a favorite TV show or a movie. I particularly like watching animated ones because I do find those really interesting and also very inspiring. I also like to spend some time with my journal because writing through my thoughts and my feelings has been something that I have found especially helpful during stressful moments. Whatever it is that you do, I think it's just good to try to relax and just think about anything else in the moment. Be present somewhere else, and when you're feeling ready to come back, I recommend doing something so easy and so simple. Draw something that you know you can do. It doesn't matter that you've drawn it hundreds of times. In fact, I think that's what you're looking for. Doing this is what helps me get a little inspiration and motivation. It reminds me that I am an artist and that I know how to create. It's kind of funny, but I've had moments where I've gone a long period without drawing. Maybe it's a week or so, and just as I prepare to sit down and I pick up my pencil or my pen, I get a little worried about what it's going to look like, or I start to wonder, what if I forgot everything that I know? But that's just a little bit of the imposter syndrome and anxiety. And so that's why I always like to start with just some fun, quick, easy, and sometimes ugly doodles. For me, I like to doodle my sketchbook with just a black brush pen. Lately, my favorite has been the Tombow Furunosuke brush pen with the hard tip, and I just draw little things that come to mind. Sometimes I'll open up Pinterest or a book or an old sketchbook and look for little things that I think would be a fun, quick exercise to do. It's basically what I'm doing here in this sketchbook, but These are a little bit more polished, and I did draw with a pencil before lining them with my pen. But the idea is to create something that is quick and simple, and that feels like an easy win. This just helps me feel more accomplished and ready to start on whatever piece I want to create. Inspiration can be found everywhere, and as an artist, I've made it a habit to look out into the world around me and find those little moments and details that compel us to create. It doesn't always have to be deep and meaningful, but there is just so much to explore, and I love looking for new things that spark that creativity in me. I would love to know if any of these things that I've mentioned is something that resonates with you, or if you find other ways to feel inspired. I would love to read about it in the comments below. I appreciate you so much for watching, and I hope that you have an amazing day and week ahead of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!